Ippo has been retired for a few years in universe and about 300 chapters ago by release. That's 7 years of real time he has been out of the ring. Yeah, since 2018. That's insane. After his brutal loss versus Alfredo, Ippo promised that if he lost again, he would retire. He fulfilled that, so what will make him return? When Ippo was fighting Antonio Guevera, he knew deep down that his body was broken and most likely close to being punch drunk, but it wasn't actually the case. He just hasn't recovered from all the brutal fights he has been through. Alfredo Gonzales was the worst beatdown of them all, and before that match, he took brutal beatdowns versus Kojima, Wally, Gedo, and Jimmy Sisphar. Hell, even against Take, and most certainly versus Sawamura. 3 years of being within an inch of his life is nothing to scoff at. Accumulated damage is the main reason why Ippo has stepped to the wayside, and this pretty much was every match after the anime ended. He really didn't stop taking a beatdown for 500 plus chapters. With that out of the way, what could bring Ippo back to boxing? Throughout his retirement, Ippo continued training and took on the mantle of being a coach to new members of the gym. This gave him a new perspective he hasn't had before. He fought in styles that he's never practiced, learned techniques not fit for his build, and even unexpected ones that he never bothered to learn, like parrying. Ippo added so much to his skill set without ever quote-unquote considering his return to the ring. He sparred with Volk, the current IBF world champion, and looked like he was about to win. And then he sparred versus Sendo a couple times, shocking the elite fighter with his skill. Also, Mashiba in preparation for his world title match and was going back and forth with the man despite the latter being 2 weight classes above him. This is insane for someone who is inactive. While he was retired, he watched Wally getting clapped by Ricardo, Mashiba narrowly losing his world title match, and now he's witnessing his rival Sendo take on the strongest champion of all time, Ricardo Martinez. All of his rivals have been getting their world title shine, but it may be Ippo's turn to rise above them all. Ippo will return after this match, but how? How will he return after Ricardo versus Sendo? What can convince him to come back and challenge the world once again? My theory is that it'll be a domino effect, in which each moment will be equally as impactful, and we're in the middle of it right now. Currently in the story, the people around him think Ippo needs one final push to return to the ring. He's been training his ass off even while retired, and is way stronger than he has been before. A lot of characters have noticed this. His road to coming back has started the day he retired. The sun will rise again, as they say. The drive has always been in Ippo, so it's only a matter of time before he's back in form. With Sendo and Ricardo being in the middle of round 3, this will be one of the major moments that will move Ippo forward. Whether Sendo wins, loses, or even dies, I know some people believe that, Ippo will somehow be influenced by this match one way or another. Sendo is Ippo's rival, and someone he highly respects. If anyone can move him towards the path of boxing once again, it'll be him. Just like Mashiba, my bet is that Sendo will have career-ending injuries, and Ippo will either run to the ring or visit him in the hospital. Sendo may ask him to return to the ring, but in a way where it's not directly asking him. Maybe he'll bring up Ippo's desire to return instead of asking him to get revenge. Maybe Sendo will reference the baton Date gave Ippo and will hand over his own to our MC. Maybe it's very obvious when you look at Ippo that he just really wants to go back to boxing, but is still lingering on that promise he made years ago. If Ricardo wins within an inch of his life, it's possible that this may want him to challenge Ippo during his post-match interview. Right now, the match is looking very dominant for Ricardo, so I doubt this may happen, but if Sendo turns it around, it's definitely a possibility. He has taken an interest in Ippo as the boxing world seems to revolve around him, and also Sendo, the man who lost to Ippo twice, almost beat the unbeatable champ in this scenario. He could find what it means to be strong through a match with Ippo maybe. Maybe he sees him spar, something like that, and sees Ippo's potential or sees how strong Ippo is now. Sendo's words will definitely happen whether Ricardo challenges or expresses his interest in fighting Ippo, in my opinion. So I think that's on lock, but Ricardo alone, whether he does this won't convince Ippo to return to the ring. He barely knows the guy, so I don't think his words will really have a lot of weight, unless he echoes the same goal that he shares with Ippo, what it means to be strong. Because we know that they both pretty much started boxing in that way. They wanted to find out what it meant to be strong. This could give Ippo to think back on why he boxed in the first place. He lost sight of his goal when he started challenging the world, only thinking of making Kamigawa proud and showing what they've worked on. What also needs to happen is a deep conversation with his mother and Kumi. His mother has shown disdain towards Ippo boxing, and Kumi has confronted Ippo several times that she wants him to quit before he gets hurt. With Mashiba in critical condition, I have a feeling Kumi won't approve of his return or even bring it up at all. The only way for her to be convinced is through Mashiba himself. I'm sure he wants Ippo to return to the ring. We saw through his fight with Rosario that he finally approved and shown boundless respect towards Ippo and his relationship with Kumi. He finally found someone stronger than him that could protect his little sister. I don't think this is a necessary step, but I can see this scenario playing out. Miyata talking to Ippo after Sendo's match. Whether it's days or even months from now, the topic of Ippo's comeback has to cross his mind. It's hard to tell what they'll talk about, but I feel like this is kind of likely. And it makes sense. Miyata has been, he's been in the grapevines, hearing about Ippo's escapades. A lot of tricks Ippo has learned these past few years, and I'm sure he would be really excited to see him come back. And it would make sense. He knows that Ippo is still training despite being retired. He knows deep in Ippo's heart that he wants to return. The most obvious person to play a major role in his comeback is Kamigawa himself, though. If Ippo ever comes to realization to enter the ring once again, he will ask Kamigawa for his permission. The coach will surely test Ippo's mental and his skill through a series of questions and also some spars. I know the both of them are itching for a return to the ring, and I'm sure he's noticed maybe a little bit of what Ippo has worked on and also improved upon. Another major player has to be Takamura. He's the first one to notice Ippo isn't world level material before the Alfredo Gonzales fight. He even figured out that Ippo is much weaker than before. The moment we know Ippo's comeback is when he crosses the line Takamura made. The line where only monsters can cross. Monsters who can challenge the world. It'll be really hard to convince this guy, I think. Knowing how disappointing he was in Ippo, I feel like we're going to have a big arc with Takamura. But last but not least, the most important person to Ippo's comeback is Ippo himself. It starts with him and ends with him. Ultimately, Ippo's drive will take him over and his love for boxing will push him forward. He will want to find out what it means to be strong once again, embrace his love for boxing, and also fight for Kamigawa and every person that has entered his life due to boxing. All of these motivations will add up, and we will see a monster who will dominate the scene until he meets Ricardo in the ring. If Ippo decides to return, what will his path to the top look like? It would make sense if he has a couple matches with random Japanese rankers to warm himself up. I know a lot of fans want to see him immediately fight Imai, but that isn't happening. Even if he is stronger than him, it just wouldn't make sense. Even Date fought a couple chumps when he came back. After he demolishes the rankers, he will once again challenge Imai for the belt and destroy him. It won't be close. Imai is far away from the world. It would only make sense for Ippo to crush his dreams. If the fight is as dominant as the fans expect, he could relinquish his belt and challenge the world immediately, but on the other hand, he could defend his title once or twice, then move on. It really depends on how he's feeling. But we've also been through the title defense saga, so maybe if he really is that good and is feeling it, he might fight some weaker world rankers to see how he is, and honestly, just go on to fight Ricardo later on. We'll see. After he shows to the world that he's better than ever before, Ippo will fight at least, I would say, 2 really high level world rankers before challenging Ricardo. If Ricardo seems interested in Ippo, it'll most likely be through Ippo's sheer dominance of his opponents, maybe at a similar level to how Ricardo dominates his challengers. Maybe he will be reminded of himself through Ippo, who knows. Even if he does climb to fight Ricardo, I doubt he'd win unless he polishes his skills tenfold to what they are now. Whether he wins or loses, it doesn't matter. What does it mean to be strong? Ricardo and Ippo can only find out from each other. A world title match anticipated by every boxer in the world. The penultimate arc in Hajime no Ippo. I still got Ippo fighting Miyata for the final fight of the series though.